policing the police every single day, and doing what the Charlotte County Sun newspaper and local TV stations won't do every single day.
Domestic violence is on the rise, so we're always on the lookout for that and to help those victims through the process. So we are going strong. We are still out there protecting the community, trying to keep everybody safe and keep our crime rate the lowest, that it's, as you know, the lowest in the state for the last 7 years.
Yeah. Boy, so those numbers are showing up, huh, Amira? The numbers that would talk about domestic violence, you know, people hinted about it. You stay in closed quarters long enough, some unfortunate things happen. And there were people that were making comments, almost flippant at the time, saying, oh, man, there's going to be a lot of marital strife. There's going to be a lot of fights. There's going to be a lot of things we don't want to talk about, kind of putting that off, not realizing how true those words are. So you're starting to see an uptick, huh?
Unfortunately, Drew, whenever we have a time where there's any isolation involved, whether it be after a hurricane or again, during an unprecedented time such as this, and people are shut in together, and oftentimes the victim is shut in with their abuser, we see an uptick. So we're trying to be very vigilant against that and help people find the right shelter, et cetera. All our shelters continue to operate for domestic violence victims. So we try to guide people in the right direction and get them out of their dangerous situation.
Good. All right, so here we go. I need some sense of all this, some reasons, so we can calm some folks down.
Sure, absolutely.
Oh man, did I get a lot of texts? All right.
Me too, Drew.
You did as well. All right.
Yeah.
So let's make sense of this. First of all, talk about what this is, what happened here, and what the facts are behind this being held without bond. What is this?
So it's only under very limited circumstances. I want everybody to know that, but it is very serious. So on Friday afternoon, our Chief Judge, Mike McHugh, who, by the way, has done a wonderful job of guiding us all through this crisis, issued out a memo that said very simply that if somebody was in Department of Health ordered quarantine or isolation and they violated that, then they would be held with no bond overnight until a judge saw them in the morning at first appearance. So that's extremely limited. That's people who the Department of Health have said, you are a danger to the public. And of course, that's going to be somebody who's tested positive and who is insistent on not isolating themselves. That's the type of person that's going to be put in Department of Health quarantine. If those people go out and mix in the general public, they are looking at an arrest with a no bond situation. But I do want to say there are 0 people right now in our circuit, the 5 counties that we cover, which are, of course, Lee, Collier, Hendry Glade, Charlotte. 0 people in Department of Health ordered quarantine or isolation. So at this point, there's nobody that this applies to. This does not apply to folks that may be given a notice to appear or arrested by the sheriff's offices or police departments because they're not following Governor DeSantis's safer at home order.
Okay. Great. That's what I needed to know. I just wanted to get that clarification because, as you know, and you seem to have the same kind of text situation that I had. All of a sudden, people are like, whoa, wait a minute. I need the answers here. What in the world is going on? Did you see this? And I was like, well, we'll get a hold of Amira. We'll find out exactly what is happening. So I'm glad you had the opportunity to help us out here and to clarify that. So that's great to help us. We do appreciate it. All right, Amira, that's all I needed from you this morning. We'll spend some time in the future talking about other things. I hope sooner rather than later as we get past all of this, but I appreciate just a few minutes. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Drew. Stay safe. And all the listeners, please stay safe. And please do follow all these safer at home guidance because our community has been so wonderful in following that. And that's going to help us all get through this. So I couldn't be prouder to live in a community where everybody is trying to keep each other safe.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Amira Fox joining us on Daybreak 92.5 Fox News. All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.
Bye, Drew. Thanks.
All right. I thought it was important that we had that information out there because people were freaking out. And listen, I understand why people would freak out about this. I understand what the concern was and what could be, especially, let's not make it sound as if it's not happening at all. The questions about our civil liberties, the the concerns that we have about the infringement upon our civil liberties, because in certain areas it is happening. In certain places it is going on. We hear the unfortunate story just the other day out of Pennsylvania. You had a 19-year-old that got pulled over by police in York County, Pennsylvania. She's decided that, I just want to go out for a drive. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. I just want to go out and take a ride in the car just to get out of the bubble. That's all. And she did that. She got pulled over, and she didn't know that under the state of Pennsylvania's stay-at-home order, you couldn't even drive just around the neighborhood, just to get out of the house. She was fined. She was cited and fined more than $200. And a lot of people piqued interest of a lot of different individuals. Ted Cruz. This is absurd. To Democrat politicians, and it seems to be only Dems doing this, talking about Wolf in Pennsylvania, de Blasio in New York City, Cooper in North Carolina, protect public safety, but we don't live in a police state. Resist authoritarianism and don't abuse power. Driving a car alone is not a public health threat. And again, when you heard a story like this, Britt Hume commented on this, Tom Fitton commented on this, Mark Levin commented on this, the concerns about what is too far. And so I understand when people were texting me and saying, whoa, what is this? When they heard about the story that we just talked about locally, that it was not the same scenario. To clarify that. But yes, there are people that are looking at what is happening, not seeing a date certain where we even have an end to this situation, and are trying to figure out how much freedom we have to go about our day. People worry. I was talking to somebody the other day. I don't know, Jake, were we talking about this together? I don't remember if it was the two of us talking about this, that somebody mentioned that they didn't want to leave their house. Like they were afraid to walk down the street because they were afraid that the safer at home order would be something where even if they took a walk with the family and the dog down the street, that they were going to get a notice or some kind of fine. And people get worried about these kind of things. And because in certain areas of the country, there are governors, there are laws that are being put in place. There are people who are having us question what is happening with our civil liberties and this creep, this small drip and creep into our space. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying there's something wrong with that. I'm saying the genuine concern about it, there's nothing wrong with. Because we all don't worry about that. We do not want that to happen. And now that takes us to the other place where we are, which is, what does it look like on the other side of this? When do we get to go back to the grocery and the pharmacy as opposed to, and maybe you've already had this experience, trying to get delivery to your house from grocery stores who are doing the best that they can. Give credit to those that are...
Until further notice. New tonight, a new reason to stay home. The chief judge for the 20th Judicial Circuit of Florida says if you're arrested for going out for a non-essential activity, you'll be held without bond, at least until your first appearance in court. The judge made the announcement during an appearance. The judge assigned to the case can determine if bond or bail is appropriate, and this will stay in effect until further notice.
Starting tomorrow, under the governor's safer at home order, you must stay home for the next 30 days and only for essential services or activities. The executive order says you can't go to work if you're deemed non-essential, but you can work from home if that's an option for you. You also can't visit friends and family if there's no urgent need. Your doors shouldn't be open unless you're considered essential. That means gyms, hair and nail salons, and tanning beds are a no-go. LCSO says they're going to start with education and awareness, but if there are repeat offenders, there will be arrests made.
We're going to be all out in full force. That's land, air, and sea. We want people to know If you are not going to obey the ordinance and you think you're going to congregate in groups of 10 or more, someone is going to call. See it, say it, make the call. People are going to call it in, and we are going to respond.
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.